I needed to move my iTunes library today from one computer, from an old notebook, to a new computer. And when I went to go do that, and I wanted to keep all of my ratings and all of the other things that I have in my iTunes library, and I discovered that it is not as easy as you would think, especially since on the other computer I've already got a library there as well. And so I went online, I did some Googling, and there were a lot of articles on how to export the library and then bring things over, and kind of, a 12-step method for doing it that was not only fairly complicated, but this is actually a small library of mine. I've only got about 400 songs on it, but I had to move another notebook also that had several thousand songs on it, and it was just going to take too long to go do it manually. So I wrote a free utility. I'm going to give it away on the internet, but just so that I got to believe that there are other people that need something like this. But real quickly, how you do this. This is the computer that I want to transfer things from. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to export my library. And I've already moved this over just so you can see what this is. This is going on to a Western Digital Passport, which is a portable drive. This is what I'm going to connect up to my other computer. So I'm just going to save the library.xml, which is the default file. And that's all that I've got to do in iTunes. Now I come in here, and this is the utility that I wrote, the iTunes Library Mover. So all that I need to do is run this and open up that same XML file, which was on my Western Digital iTunes tablet. So there's my XML file. Where I want it to go to, in other words, it's got to copy over all of my songs for me. So I'm going to do that to the same Western Digital. And this just needs to be a directory that, in this case, I'm going to write it to this portable drive, and I'm going to plug the portable drive into my other PC. But that's the critical thing, is that the other PC can see it. Now here's where it's kind of tricky, because what I need to do now is when I plug this drive into my other PC, it's actually going to be the P drive. So that's the difference. This is where I actually need to copy them to on this computer. This is what I need to write them out as, so that when I plug it into my new computer, that it can still read it. If I were going to put this onto a Mac, then I would go volumes /WD passport, like that, which is the actual name of the drive. So that's how this can actually move them from a PC to a Mac as well. But let's leave that as the P colon. I do want to copy the files, and now I'm going to go ahead and hit go. When I hit this, it's going to start copying the files, and you can see that it's going to start updating its progress. I'm going to let this run. It's got to copy over all 400 and whatever of those of my iTunes files over into this temporary drive. So I'm going to pause the recording here. Okay, you can now see that it has finished with on this computer, and now I'm actually done with the iTunes Library Mover. When I move it to my other computer, my desktop computer, I'm actually going to be back in iTunes using that. But just so you can see what this did, if I come in here and I look at tablet, and then I look at music, you can see it copied all of my music over here, all of my files, and it created a new library XML. This is the one that I'm going to import, and it's going to look like on my desktop computer, it's going to look like I'm just importing something from that computer. Just hang with me for a little bit here, you'll see what I'm talking about. So now here I am back on my desktop computer, where I'm going to be moving all of my iTunes library over to. And you can see that I've already got some in here. And so now I'm just going to take this, and this will be really easy. I've got that drive plugged in, which like I said, is going to be the P drive on here, if you'll remember that. And I'm just going to go File, Import. And now I just need to go to where remember I saved that into this directory, and it's the library XML file. And what happened here, when you export your library, when I exported that from my tablet, from my notebook computer, then it created this library XML, which was it's like a big huge playlist is what it is, except it all had all of the file names and everything from my other computer, which wouldn't work on this. So this is the new library XML that the iTunes library mover created for me. So I simply open that up, and now it's going to import it. Okay, so you can see that it's just finishing up copying here, 393 of 393, that it's pulled over. You can see it's actually copying over a copy of one of the 24 right now, which is kind of cool. This will copy over all of your TV shows, all of your purchased items out of your library. So it's a very complete copy of the two libraries. In fact, if I go over now, you can see that it's got my it's got to determine the gapless information there afterwards, but you can see that it's got my purchased items in here, my TV shows. I'll click on that real quick. You can see it's got TV shows in there. You can see that it's got my purchased items in there. You can also see this is a new copy of iTunes on the computer that I'm moving it to with these messages. But you can see that it actually creates a pretty complete copy of both libraries. As far as I know, it did everything for me that I needed it to do. Copied over all of my TV shows, all my purchased stuff, all my libraries, all my songs, everything that I had on there. So great little utility. It's available for free. Get it and copy over your iTunes library. It's a lot easier than doing it manually.